What's up, guys? It's your boy Ace, and today we're going to be talking about the mindset you need to have when you're making your progressions. So if you're new to the game, progressions just basically means when you're going through your reads in a pass play, you should go in 1, 2, 3. Now you do sometimes have 5 reads technically, or 5 routes on the field, but many of you, including myself, will not be able to make 5 reads or 5 progressions. And I'll explain why, and I'll explain exactly how I design my plays. Now, before I get into the full breakdown, I just want to let you guys know that we do have premium weekly tips on the site, acemadden.com. Now, I know you guys hear premium, and you're going to be like, well, are they any different than the videos on the channel? Yes, these are really good. I have a tip that I posted last week that shows you how to stop every inside zone and 0-1 trap in the game. Actually, I'm not 100% sure about every 0-1 trap, but it does stop every inside zone in the game with a universal setup out of 2-4-5 double A gap. So if you want that defense, head over to the link in the description. It's going to be called acemadden.com/memberships. It's only $5 a month. Like legit, you get access to every single tip that's been posted on the site. Not the ebooks, but the actual tips. And then it's only $5 a month moving forward. So it's really cheap. You're paying like $1 per tip. And if you count previous tips from other months, then you're paying even less. So it's a bargain. Honestly, go become a member. $5 a month. Let's get into the breakdown. So I'm going to use my formation, which is gun tight doubles. I use trips tight end and tight doubles, but I haven't really shown tight doubles any love recently on the channel, so let's go ahead and do that. And you guys don't have to use this play because I'm really just talking about a concept here. But Z-spot is the play we'll be talking about for now. Let's just go against a random play. So when I'm designing a play, I really only want to have 3 routes that I'm reading. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. The other routes on the field are either going to be pulling things horizontally or pushing things back vertically. So I'll show you a setup that does exactly that. So I do have Tom Brady with Hot Route Master, but I'm not going to use his additional routes just so you guys can see a basic concept that any of you guys can use. So let's put Mike Evans, which is Y, on a streak. Let's put A on a drag. And then I'm going to motion snap X in just a second. But here's what I want to talk about. So I know this play from experience only really has, I would say, 2.5 man beaters. I think B can beat man if you like really throw it correctly and on his break. But generally, it's going to be the drag from the tight end that's going to get separation versus man. That can easily be usered. And it's going to be the table route from the running back. That can also beat man. Now, it's not going to completely torch it, but it will get separation. The dig route used to beat man coverage last year and in previous years before that, but it doesn't reliably beat man coverage anymore. So, as this play stands, we only have 2 man beaters. One being the vicinity where a user is probably going to be, which is going to be the drag, and the other one being in the flats going to the right, where he can't really use or both. So I immediately think to myself, if it's man coverage, it has to be one of those two reads. It just has to be. So I immediately check for man coverage. At that point, I'm going to throw to the one that the user isn't close to. Now, keep in mind, it can be man coverage. They could have a hard flat on the right, and then I might throw a pick. So I'm not throwing a predetermined throw. I'm just saying it's usually going to be one of the 2 that will be open. If I think it's zone or I see that it's zone post snap, what's going to happen is Y is almost never going to be a read. Now you can throw some, seam routes and stuff like that, to him, and sometimes it will be open, but generally speaking, he is just there to clear out space. Now, if I could put him on a post, this is more of something I would like to do, and then I motion Scotty Miller out, and then this is exactly a play that I would love to use. Now, I'm going to keep him on a streak for now, just in case you guys don't have Hot Route Master. But just keep in mind, if you do, you can put him on a post, a crosser. But for now, we'll put him on a streak. So what's going to be my progressions if it's zone coverage? Well, I'm going to read the drag pretty much every single time first. We have 2 routes on the left side of the field are pushing back zones. So if it's a cloud flat or whatever on the left, he's going to get pushed back by our deep dig route. And the drag is going to be wide open for a huge gain, probably like 10 yards. Now, if the user runs with the drag Our next read is going to be our spot route, which is B. He kind of sits in a vacated zone in the middle of the field. So let's go ahead and pretend it's zone coverage. Hopefully it's zone coverage. It's actually man, but you're going to notice that we do get separation. I mean, we tried racking it. Usually the tight end will get separation versus man coverage, and it's not really a difficult throw, but happened to be on that time. So let's do it again. So right here, you'll notice that we'll beat man coverage as well, but really your reads versus man coverage will be the table route and your drag. So let's go ahead. Your first read is always going to be the drag here, and then your second read is more than likely going to be the spot route. Unless it's man coverage, it'll be the table route. So let's go ahead and read it. I'm going to see that it is zone, so I'm going to pretend that the drag was usered, and we're going to throw to the spot route. So go to instant replay. And as always, feel free to ask questions in the comment section. I know I'm trying to be organized with what I'm saying, but I know I can ramble sometimes. So here's my logic with this play. So my first read is always going to be the drag. Now, users are very, very conditioned to taking away drags in post routes, like the sharp post routes and crossers, things of that nature. What they're not used to taking away is a route like this one, the spot route, which is absolutely perfect because it sits in a spot that's in the middle of the field where if a user is running with this drag, he can be here to take advantage of the vacated zone in the middle of the field. The extra benefit here, if this wasn't usered, you're going to notice this defender is dropping way back with the dig. If we throw it right about here, we rack it, that's going to be a 10-yard gain. Here's the extra benefit versus zone coverage. If they happen to be a godlike user and they user the drag to about here and then they bounce back and they hit the spot, well, we're going to have this coming over the middle, this deep dig. So those are our three routes versus zone coverage. So let's go ahead, same route combo, and then we're going to immediately look for man coverage. So just read your drag. Your drag is going to be your first read no matter what, and you can tell if it's man or zone after the fact. So let's see. Zone. Let's go ahead and rack this. If Gronk was getting a little bit better of an animation on that rack and maybe he's a little bit faster, we're going to have a bigger gain than that. But so right here, real quick, I actually want to talk about this. This is where hot reads do matter. So they're in a front that's, a double A gap look, and they could send 6 at us, and we're sending 5 out. That means if they send 6, they are going to have a free rusher at our quarterback. So what that tells me is I'm likely going to have to hit one of 3 routes. I'm going to have to hit A, I'm going to have to hit B, or I'm going to have to hit RB. Any of those. Let's see if they send those linebackers. They do. Right there, I threw the drag a little bit late. I actually thought it was a man coverage for a second based on the way the running back was played. So it was actually a good defensive snap by them. So right here, notice how the hook zone, the computer's hook zone will not defend that spot route. It's very, very easy to abuse zone coverage with this play. Wouldn't call this a good man beating concept. I don't know what zone he was in, but he played that like a complete god. He was just bailing out and then he came down. I think that was a quarter flat. Always read the drag first. Right here, that looks scary, but that's usually going to get just enough separation to throw that and rack it. Same look again, double A gap. That means check to see if those 2 linebackers in the middle are blitzing you post-snap. And if they are, you're going to have to get it out hot. It's going to be to your drag or your spot or possibly your table. So right here, let's check the linebackers. They are blitzing. I just get the ball out of my hands. But that's just something you're going to have to keep in mind if you want to send 5 out. Now, you don't technically need to send the table route. I like to make it a habit to send 5 routes out because as soon as you start blocking your running back, you're kind of limiting yourself as far as your route combinations. So right here, there's our man coverage. That, of course, can be usered by like a safety or something to kind of help out the man coverage that's on him. But that's kind of what I think on this play. So always read your drag first. And there you go. So let's talk about another route concept. Okay, the next breakdown is going to be out of gun tight slots. Very popular play in formation from last year. It's going to be mesh spot. And we will use an extra hot route for this route combo. So we're going to put Godwin, which is Y, on a post. Should look like that. Put Mike Evans on a flat. And put Gronk, which is your tight end, on an out route. So your play should look like this. And let me break down my logic. So I only have... So don't get me wrong. The post from B can be a read. Possibly. Like, I think against quarters and palms, I think this will bomb both of those. But generally speaking, he's there to push zones back. You really have 3 reads on the play. You have 2 hot reads. You have your tight end on an out route. And you have your running back on a wheel. Both of those are going to get pretty bagged by man coverage. So really, this route combo isn't necessarily a good man-beating play, because the only route that's going to consistently beat man coverage is going to be Godwin on that post. However, this play is very good against zone coverage. It's going to beat any zone coverage in the game. Like I said, cover 4 palms and quarters should get bombed by Scotty Miller, if they so happen to be in that. Everything else, you're going to have a read somewhere. So here's how I like to read it. My tight end is always going to be my first read. My running back is likely going to be my second. Now, those are kind of interchangeable. That kind of depends on how my opponent's playing me. But then my last read is going to be Godwin, which is the post. Here's the deal. So X is on a flat. You are pretty much never, going to read him. He's only to pull zones horizontally out. So we keep it simple. We like to keep 3 reads. So read the tight end first or the running back. That's your preference. Then your running back, and then the post. So let's go ahead and snap it. Let's go ahead and take a look. That gets covered. Out route got covered, so we went all the way back to our 3rd read and threw it to the post. Now, could it be hard flats on the right and then they user the post? Of course, that's always an option. But then our wheel from the running back will be open. So keep that in mind. So right here, here's a good example of how this route combo works on the left. Let's go to instant replay. If they play cover 2, they really have to man up this running back, because this cloud flat isn't going to play it. This isn't all wheel routes, by the way. This is a pretty special wheel route. You see how it gets in that crease? Just pass lead it to the left a little bit, and then boom, that's a huge gain. So this is a very good zone beating play. So let's go ahead and look at the front. Remember, double A gap. That means they could be sending 6 at us, which means if we send 5 out, they do have a free rusher at the quarterback. So what does that mean? We have 2 hot reads. Pay attention to the 2 linebackers in the middle. If they both come at you, then likely they are sending 6. Not guaranteed. But if you see both of them come, you can go ahead and assume that it's 6. And you're going to likely make a hot read to your tight end or to your running back, possibly your post. So let's go ahead and see. They drop. Right here. That was actually, these zones dropped pretty well. One thing I will say, this year there are zone drops, obviously. We've talked about it many times. And if they start dropping their zones, like their clouds and their hooks and whatever, this route's going to be wide open for like probably 10 yards. So you see how he really kind of baits us here? It makes it look like he's crashing down on the out route, but then he goes, oop, drop, drop, drop. And he gets out of there. So keep that in mind. Now, if he is on a zone drop of 20 or 25, he's going to back up. Like he's never going to drive downfield like this. He's going to keep dropping. And that's when the out route becomes a lot more viable versus zone, because you can get way more yards. So right here, this might be a man coverage. Go ahead and take a look. It is, and that is our man beating route. Now, of course, man coverage and a user can pretty much completely bag this play. That's besides the point. I'm not trying to show you money plays right now. I'm mainly trying to show you how to think when running plays. So really, when you design a play, you want to have 3 reads. So remember, tight end, running back, post. Go ahead and read it. You can throw the out route there versus a cloud. Double A gap. We have 2 hot reads. Pay attention to the linebackers in the middle. They both come at us. They didn't send 6, but they did both come. So you can safely assume that it is a 6-man, even if it's not. But remember, don't freak out if you see both of them coming. You do have to stay calm so you don't throw a pick. Just like that. That is pretty much our only man-beating route in this route concept. So right here, safety comes down. I can assume it's a blitz of some kind. Read your tight end. I liked the throw to the running back instead. Again, zone blitzes, one of those two routes is going to be open more often than not. Let's go ahead and snap it. And let's do a couple more snaps. But I'm really just trying to show you my mindset when it comes to these plays. Not necessarily trying to show you just game-breaking route concepts or anything. But it's important to realize if you put 5 routes on the field, you are likely never going to make all 5 progressions. It's just not going to happen. If you claim that you're doing that, I'm going to challenge you and say you're full of shit. Because most pro players do not make 5 reads every single time. Or really ever, if I'm being honest. Right there, boom, there's our out route versus zone. And one more snap, let's make it a good one. Right here, let's go ahead and I'm going to change it up and read my running back first, see if it's man coverage. It is man coverage, so we're going to the post. So just like that, boys, that is how I like to make my progressions. So if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. It helps me tremendously. If you enjoy the daily Madden 21 content, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get alerted when I upload. So that's going to be it for the tip. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow.